Hello Year 9, welcome to a video looking at the questions and answers in the Google Docs, Google Form practice test. Okay, so first question here, when you've got two numbers with the same base and you're multiplying with different powers, you just add the powers. So the answer would be still the same base 2. Powers added is to the power of 6. So there's your answer, the first one, 2 to the power of 6. This one, same deal applies, same base, multiplying, so we add the powers. That's d to the power of 1, d to the power of 4, 1 plus 4 is 5. There's your answer for that one. This one here, if we deal with the base of m first, m to the power of 2 times m to the power of 6, you add the powers, so that's m to the power of 8. And when we factor in the numbers, 4 times 3 is 12. So 12 m to the 8, that's the answer for that one. This one, dividing, we subtract the powers. So d to the power of 20 divided by d to the power of 4. The base stays the same at d, and 20 minus 4, which is what you do in dividing, subtract the powers, is 16. There's the answer for that one. Next one. We'll do the same thing again, just do the base with the powers first. Dividing, base stays the same, and you subtract the powers when dividing, so 10 minus 2 is 8. So w to the power of 8. And then the numbers, 20 divided by 5 is 4. So there's your answer for that one. Okay, simplify. I'm going to go do this way. Okay, so when you've got a fraction, you can treat it like dividing or just do some cancelling. The 8 and the 24 have a common factor of 8, so you can divide that by 8, leaves just 1, that just cancels, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. X squared, x cubed divided by x squared. That cancels, and that becomes 3 minus 2 when you're dividing. This x cubed divided by x squared is just x. And then y to the 7 divided by y, so that can cancel, and that becomes just y to the 6. y to the 7 divided by y to the, what just y is y to the 6. So we're left with x y to the 6 on 3. Oh, there it is again. Okay. That's the next one. Okay, with this one, when you've got a power outside the brackets, the power applies to everything inside. So firstly, the g to the power of 1, you multiply the powers when you've got a bracket there, so that's 1 times 4 is 4. And then also you've got to do the 2 to the power of 4. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So it's 16g to the 4, which is that answer there. Okay, and with brackets here, so the power of 3 applies to everything inside. So we'll do the t to the power of 4 first. And so when you've got a bracket, t, they multiply the powers. So that'll be t to the power of 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Which means one of these two. And then minus 3 to the power of 3 is minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3, which is minus 27. So there you go. Brackets with fractions, the power outside applies to the top numerator and the denominator both. So 7c squared, 7 squared is 49, 49c squared. Because you've got to square both the 7 and the c. 49c squared over d squared. There it is. Question 12. We have brackets with a power outside, so the power applies to everything inside. So r to the power of 0 is 1, and 3 to the power of 0 is 1. 1. There's your answer to that one. Now no brackets, so the power only applies, the 0 only applies to the r. There's no brackets here, so only to the r. So that's minus 3. Well, r to the power of 0 is 1. So minus 3 times r to the power of 0. So there's our answer. G to the minus 5 expresses a positive index. So when we got minus indices, we immediately make it the inverse, which means it's 1 over G. And then once you do that, the power becomes positive. So that equals that. There it is, right there. So remember, negative indices, if you're asked to do positive index for that, make it 1 over the G to the power of 5. Okay, this one here, we've got a negative indice applying to the n only, not the 3. So I'll keep the 3 separate for now. N to the minus 2 is 1 over n squared. So that makes the index positive when you do it 1 over. And then that's got to be times 3, which makes it this, which is that one. Okay, did a video yesterday on significant figures, but here we go again. 3 significant figures. Well, the first 3 here, any non-zero is significant in these numbers, and we got 146. But the next number is 8, so I have to round it to 7. Now with numbers without decimals though, you've got to add zeros to equal the same number of digits. 14687. So we got an extra 2 zeros, which don't count in the significant figures. And that's the answer. 3 significant figures rounded with 2 zeros. So there you go. And doing ones with decimals is a bit different. Have a look at that video, you can see what I mean. We're doing here scientific notation. So you take the 2 significant figures and turn them into a number between 2 and 10. Add the decimal. Okay, times. So this first bit's got to be between 2 and 10. 1 and 10. And then we've got to move the decimal point to the right to move it back to where it should be, which gives us our power of the 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the scientific notation of that number. There it is there. 18, right, as a decimal. It already is a decimal, but we've got to factor this in. 10 to the minus 1 means the decimal point moves to the left. 1. Only 1 because it's minus 1. So 6.6 becomes 0.66. Yep. Which is there. Okay, so geometry. Find the value of the prime numeral, so k. Alright, so it looks like we have to, it's not immediately obvious what we've got to do, but we've got some clues. Parallel lines, we've got 108 there. These angles here are vertically opposite. And if you have a look, you can see that parallel lines, the angles on the inside, they are co-interior. So this one and this one add up to 180. So what's that? That dot is 72. The parallel lines, co-interiors add up to 180. So the dot there is 72. And vertically opposite angles are equal. So k is 72. With a lot of these ones, you've got to piece together a few bits of information before you get to the answer. This one, however, is pretty easy. Which of the following is true? They're parallel lines and alternate angles. Either side of the transversal, alternate angles are equal. So P is 115 because of the alternate angles. There it is. Which one of these statements about properties is false about a parallelogram? A parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel, so that's not false. Opposite sides are equal, that's not false. Diagonals are not equal, because you've got a long diagonal and a short one. I think that's how it works. Yep. So diagonals are not equal. That's false. How many axes of symmetry does a rhombus have? That one is 1. Going to look that up later. I think no, it's 2. I'm going to check that one. Remind me to check that later. What is the angle sum of a pentagon? Well, a pentagon has 5 sides. And so the formula is 180 times the number of sides minus 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3. 180 times 3 is 540. There we are. Value of B. Okay, B, immediate to me is that B and this angle here are supplementary. So they make 180 degrees. What's also important is that this is a quadrilateral. So the 4 angles here add up to 360 in a 4-sided figure. So if we do this, and that's a right angle, we should get the size of this dot. Let's have a look. So the dot is 40. So that's 40 there. 40 and that make up 180 because they're supplementary, straight line. So that's 140 for B. Okay, a kite. Value of R down here, where we've got a 4-sided figure, so the angle sum is 360. We've got these 2 sides of the same length, and so are these as each other. So this angle over here is 100. Those two, that's the feature of the kite. The angles here are the same. So again, 360 minus 200 minus 130. 160, 30. That angle there is 30 to make up the 4 angles equaling 260. The value of x, okay, so we have a couple of ways you can do this, but the quick way is to know that these two added is the same as that one, because this is an external angle, one side's extended, which forms an external angle, and that's the same as these two added. So x plus 65 equals 140. So if we take away the 65, was that 75? 75 and 65 is 140, 75. Okay, PQRS, did a video on this one too. PQRS rectangle, ST bisects, so each of the 4, so here's our rectangle. All 4 angles in the rectangle are right angles. Right angle, right angles. And then it says ST bisects PSR. So this one cuts this angle in half. So the dots, red dots equal 45 each, because that's angles bisected by that line. So we know that's 45. Inside this triangle, we now have a 45, and what I'm doing is piecing together the bits of information so I can get what R is. So we can do this one, and then we know that this one and this one together equal 90. So 145, so this angle here has got to be 35. And then that R plus 35 is a right angle. So that's R's got to be 55. 55 and 35. So again, piecing together the bits of information to get where you want, using what's there. Value of x in the diagram. Okay, so we've got angles, adjacent angles, and they look like they're supplementary. So equals 180 for the straight line. We've got a 6x plus a 3x. Okay, that's 9x equals 180. Those two angles added equals 180. 6x and 3x is 9x. Divide by 9. That's 20. X is 20. Which of the following statements is true? A trapezium is a rhombus? No. Rhombus has 4 equal sides, trapezium, and they're all opposite sides parallel. So that one's not right. A rectangle is not a square. Parallelogram is a rhombus? No. Rhombus must have 4 sides equal length to each other, like a square. A rectangle is a parallelogram, that's the only one left. Size of one angle in a hexagon. Okay, a little bit of maths to calculate the size of one angle. Hexagon is a 6-sided figure, and so you need to know the angle sum before we can find the size of one of them. And a regular one, they're all 6 angles are the same size. So formula, 180 times number of sides minus 2. That's 4. 180 times 4, or 720. So the total sum of all the 6 angles is 720. I've just given it away. 6 angles equals 720. One of them is 120. Size of one angle is 120 degrees. Value of f, okay, Okay, righto, we've got a isosceles. These two sides are the same length. Isosceles, which means that this angle and this angle are the same. And 90, that's got to be 45. Those three angles add up to 180. And we can see that these two are supplementary. So they got to add up to 180 as well. 180, 145 to 180 is 135. Value of y. Okay, one of those ones where you've got to piece together a couple of bits of info. We've got parallel lines all over the place. That's transversal. And so there's a co-interiors happening here. They add up to 180, so there's got to be 30. And then we've got parallel lines as well, and we've got a transversal there, which means that this one, they're alternate, so they're equal. So that is 80. So that's got to be 50. Exterior angle sum of a polygon is always 360. Which quadrilaterals have diagonals that bisect at 90? Alright, we know the kite does, rectangle doesn't, rhombus doesn't, square doesn't. I'm going to check that one too, just to make sure. So 2 to check. I'm pretty sure that's the only answer. (2m plus 5 equals 8. Take 5 away, leaves 2m equals 3. Got to take 5 away. Divide by 2, m equals 3 on 2, which is 1.5. T equals minus 3, evaluate that. Well, that means 45 minus 7 times minus 3. If t is minus 3, okay, 45 minus 7 times minus 3 is minus 21. Then we've got a minus of a minus, which is a plus. So we've got to add them. That makes 66. Okay, fraction. Remove the fraction by multiplying by 2. We get 2 minus k. And we're going to multiply this by 2 as well. 2 minus k equals 10. And then we take the 2 away. Oops, minus k. So we've taken the 2 away. Minus 2 equals 8. Minus k equals 8. Swap signs. K equals minus 8. Expand the brackets. We get 4a plus 24 equals 18. Get rid of the 24. So take 24 away from that's minus 6. Divide by 4. That's the same as minus 1.5. There it is there. Variables on both sides, so I'm going to move this one across to here, take away the e. So that leaves just minus 12 on this side. And we're going to take away the e from this, leaves 3e. And that's plus 3 stays there. And then we take the 3 away. Minus 12 minus 3 is minus 15. Divide by 3. E equals minus 5. There we go. K is even. Whatever expression for an even number immediately before K. Okay, so K is even. The one before K we're going to subtract 2. Let's try that out. Say K is 10. The even number before 10 is 10 minus 2, 8. Yeah, that's right, K minus 2. Substitution from the height of h meters. I have already done this one a couple of times, but there we go. Height of h meters, a person can see a distance of k, d kilometers. So the higher you go, the further you can see. And there's the formula. If Marie is standing on top of a building 170, so 170 is our h they're going to put here. Okay, so sub in 8 square root 170 over 5. Okay, 8 square root fraction 170 over 5. 46.6 to the nearest kilometre, so that'll be 47. Okay, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to multiply everything by 5 to remove the fractions. So that times 5 is 2a, and that times 5 is just a, and that times 5 is 15. 3a equals 15, a equals 5. Okay, get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator, so everything gets multiplied by 2. Minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. Okay, get rid of the 6, so we're going to do minus 6. Minus 10 minus 6 is minus 16. Divide by 2. There we are. A couple of ways you can do this one. I'm just going to multiply everything by 6 to remove this fraction. So that times 6 is x. You can do the cross multiplying thing if you want. I'll do that in a sec actually on this one. So I'm just cross multiplying or multiply. Yeah, both ways will get you an answer. But I'm going to multiply everything by 6. That by 6 is that. When you multiply the fraction, you're just multiplying the top number. 6 times 15 is 90. You can simplify to 9 over 4, which is a mixed number is 2 1/4. Doing the cross multiplying way, 40x equals 90. Yeah, that's probably a bit of a longer way to do it. Divide by 40, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, brackets both sides the equal sign, so we better expand. 6u plus 6 times 2 is 12. 4u plus 60. Put the 4u over here, so subtract 4u, we're left with 2u plus 12. Some of you do 2 steps in one on this one. That's okay as long as you don't confuse yourself. 4u's gone, so I'm left with 60. Take the 12 away. (24). There we are. Be careful with these ones because there are 2 solutions when you've got this x squared So I'm going to divide by 2 first. That's that side. Divide by 2. X squared is 16. Well, as I said, there's 2 solutions. X can be 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. But it can also be minus 4, because minus 4 times minus 4 is also 16. So it's plus and a minus 4. 4 times a number less 6. 4 times a number less 6 gives 14. What's the number? 4 times a number minus 6. So I'm going to add 6. Add 6 both sides. That's 4n divided by 4. There it is. I remember doing this question a couple of times too. Length, width, length, width, and that length is also 2 times the width. Length is 2 times the width. We want the perimeter, and the perimeter is 36. So we just use the fact that the length is twice the width. Length is twice the width. So we can have, how many widths are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6w equals 36. Divide by 6. The width is 6. Let's see if that works. Width is 6. Width is 6. Length is 12. Length is 12. 12, 18, 36. Okay. Okay, this one. We've got, I'm going to multiply everything using the lowest common denominator. There's a couple of ways you can do this one as well, but we're going to multiply everything by 6. Everything times 6. Because the lowest common denominator, excuse me, you're allowed to do that, and multiply everything by 6. So 6 times this, you're just going to multiply the top. So that's 18p over 2 minus, that 6 times that is 6p over 3, and 6 times 4 is 24. I'll do it another way in a sec. That can simplify to 9p, 18 divided by 2, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Uh, 7p equals 24. Divide by 7. 24 over 7. So 24 over 7. That's definitely not that one, or that one. Yeah, it's this one. 3 3/7. 24 over 7. And to find the, here it is, 3 3/7. Okay. Formula to converting miles to kilometres, used to convert 40 kilometres to miles. So there's something in the 40 for the K. Okay. So I'm assuming that's kilometres, so kilometres an hour, kilometres is 40. 8 times the miles over 5. Okay, we simplify the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So times 5 times 5 divide by 8. 200 divided by 8. Yeah. 25. So 40 kilometers is 25 miles. That's it. Okay. There's a couple of ones that I had to find just to check on. It was the diagonals intersecting at right angles. Let me just see. There we are, axis of symmetry. There we are. Rhombus. Let's go. Does it even tell us? Two. Okay, there you go. 2. And there was something else I had to check going back earlier. No, there was something else somewhere. No, can't remember. Okay, well at least that's most of it. Thanks everyone for listening.